Chapter 33. White coats. That's what them white coats told us, one of Gregory's men said. They were right. White coats. No, they weren't right. Gregory's voice was full of disdain. And neither is she. You know what you've seen. It isn't true. But what if it is? The men's murmurs grew louder as more of them joined in the discussion. Gregory raised his voice. She's lying. Now quiet down. Skye took a step closer only to have Dylan grab her arm. I'm not lying to you. Some people are surviving. Gregory's men debated amongst themselves. The whitecoats offered a ton of money, jewelry, and ammo if we brought them some lab rats. Money ain't worth anything now, ya idiot. They said it would be. Everything would be the same again, once the scientists created a cure. The word caught Skye's ear. A cure? Yeah, Gregory said, they're looking for people who claim to survive it. People like you. Don't suppose you want to volunteer to help out the human race, do ya? Dylan scoffed. What are they offering you money for, if it's volunteers they want? Just to help escort you there. Gregory's innocent act wasn't convincing anyone. Yeah, right, Dylan growled. Skye, though, was still curious. Where are these people located? We don't care, Dylan said in a flat tone. Skye glanced back at him. Dylan. We don't care. Dylan stood there every bit as tough as the men before him, his steely gaze taking in every movement of the enemy. A muscle worked in his jaw. It pulsed a couple of times before Skye understood Dylan picked up on something she missed. So she repeated his words, we don't care. Gregory gave a bark of a laugh. Well, we do. They need some lab rats. It looks to me as if we've got some. Skye's stomach turned. You just said that you didn't believe any of this. Well, yeah, but just in case. Besides, the stuff the whitecoats are offering. Skye clenched her fists. Gregory wasn't after the stuff, he was after the just in case. She had ignited a hope, but she only had words. These whitecoats may actually have a cure. Her wish of getting her people out of there got slimmer by the minute. Wade spoke up. You have a whole store full of stuff, buddy. How about you just let us go in peace? Sorry, buddy, but I don't think I can do that. Gregory signaled his men. Their guns returned to their shoulders. A cold finger traced its way through Skye. Her hand sought Jesse's as Dylan pulled her back behind him. Go. Gregory's men would need to go through Dylan's to get to Skye and Jesse. It gave them a small window of opportunity. Skye turned and flew the few steps to her blue Jeep, yanked the door open and pushed Jesse inside. She ducked and uselessly covered her head when the deafening roar of gunfire erupted. The bullets tore into her car. The shots flattened tires and shattered windows. When the shower of debris stopped, Skye gasped for what little air her pounding heart allowed. Jesse. Skye raised her head to find Jesse already scrambling back to her. By some miracle, he was not hurt. Skye wrapped an arm around his waist and jerked him back out of the car, onto the ground. Gregory yelled, Don't kill them, you idiots. They aren't worth anything dead. One last bullet passed them like an angry bee, shaving a small piece of metal from the body of the Jeep and hurling it deep into Skye's arm. She groaned as it burned its way through her flesh. A band of iron encircled her other arm and dragged her to the front of the Jeep. Dylan pushed Skye and Jesse to the ground. Skye covered Jesse, and Dylan covered Skye as he searched the parking lot. The trail of blood running down her arm splashed small ruby droplets to the pavement below. Dylan winced. You're hurt. I'm fine. It's nothing. When Dylan yanked up her sleeve, looking uncertain, Skye assured him. I promise. It's nothing. He nodded and ran a quick hand over Skye's hair as he continued to eye Gregory's men. Two of the enemy lay motionless on the pavement while the other four sought cover behind empty vehicles. Dylan's 6 people had made it through the initial gunfire. They crouched behind cars themselves. Dylan let out an exasperated groan. They've shot up all our cars. I'm not sure any of them will start now. We can't have you wasting time trying. I want you out of firing range. You and Jesse are going to have to run for it. Run? Sky looked over the vast, sparse parking lot. Where? The tree line. Dylan nodded the way he intended as he shoved a small gun into her hand. Lose yourself in the woods, you know how. Sky drew in a breath. Okay. The trees seemed so far away. We'll give you cover. And then you'll follow, right? We'll try. Dylan nodded to Wade so his brother would keep a lookout for him. He put a gentle hand on Sky's face. His eyes softened as he drank in every one of her features. You're lovely. His thumb stroked her cheek, just once. But Sky felt every slight movement of his calloused hand against her soft skin. You go to the overlook. If that doesn't seem safe, go farther. I'll find you. I know. You worry about you and the boy. I'll worry about me. Got it? Yes. Sky brought her free hand up and laid it on his. She bit her lips together, afraid she would cry. Dylan pulled her towards him and kissed her forehead. His gaze sought hers again and locked, holding hers. If this crazy, horrible, wonderful feeling is love, then I love ya, darlin'. Sky pulled in a breath and held it. For a moment, everything was still. She forgot where she was, what was happening. A hawk screeched above them. Dylan's rough hand moved against her, his resolved, beautiful face filled her vision. This time it was Sky who couldn't speak. Sky started to move toward him, but before she could, Dylan whispered, "Now go." He stood, lifting her up with him. Dylan. I know. He smiled and gave her a little push in the direction he wanted her to go.